Hey guys, real quick, wanted to do a video. I don't think I've done a specific video on the breakdown of the inability to segment. So the segmentation breakdown, or like how to create authentic hip shoulder separation or stretch. I've said this before, I think doing a lot of different analysis for guys of all ages, this is the one piece to the delivery that I see a lot of low power output individuals struggle with, is their inability to segment their rotation of the hips and the rotation of the trunk. Okay, so I see a lot of kids that these just move together, right? So as we come down and as we start to rotate our hips, the trunk starts to go with it. Now you see the best of the best, the highest power output guys in the game. You look at like a Chapman, a Hicks, anyone really that throws over, 90 plus, their ability to segment the timing in which their rotation of the hips occur and then the rotation of the trunk occurs following. So the dynamic of the mechanics of it is what I talk about in terms of when do our hips rotate. Well, we look at the drive leg. We look at what is the drive leg's job as we descend from our leg lift. All I'm looking for is, do we stabilize the incoming energy from peak leg lift in our drive leg? Okay, so we absorb that energy, that force, because we have force as we come down. We need to stabilize that in the drive leg. I have a video on why we want to stabilize in the glutes, and encourage you to check that out. So once we stabilize that, now we're expressing force and energy into the ground. This is where we talk about ground force, okay? So as soon as we do that, and now we begin our drive phase, this is when the timing of hip rotation actually is going to start to occur, right? We look at the rear hip specifically. We look at the position of the back foot and where that is. And then now as we're going and as our hips are starting their rotation process, now some people are different. Some people look at pelvis rotation and trying to delay pelvis rotation until seconds or frames before front foot strike. That's totally fine. But I would say for mass majority of guys, their hip rotation is actually too late, or their just inability to segment is the one thing that's breaking down. So this is where I talk about we can keep the trunk neutral if we delay the timing in which our hand climbs. Okay, so our trunk can't rotate if our hand's still below shoulder line. Okay, the only reason the trunk starts to rotate is for guys that flip up their hand early. So now we can't stall, we can't delay our trunk from rotating. If we're up here, it's really hard to delay that trunk and keep that trunk neutral, and as if we were down here with our hand, and then hand climb, boom, right? So there's a ton of different progressions that I have in regards to creating an environment in which you can feel that separation and that segmentation, right? I tell a lot of guys to overemphasize a feeling, maybe create like more trunk counter rotation while the hips go. You want to create that stretch. There's a couple different slider exercises that I have that you can create those hips rotating and the trunk staying neutral. And then it's all coming down to identifying the personal breakdown for you, because there's a couple different things in regards to why we're not accomplishing that move. Is it just the overall inability to segment? Is it that the hand, the arm raise is occurring too early, which makes the trunk rotate early, forces the trunk to rotate early? Is it their hip rotation? Is their hip rotation late? Are they elevating their hips? What do we do? So that's why this fly is freaking killing me. That is why it's important to identify for you in like an analysis or in an instruction or whatever the case may be, to get those answers for yourself. Because if you don't have those answers, then you're guessing, and that sucks. Hopefully that made sense. I encourage you to check out the other breakdowns and progressions that I have for segmentation. Sweet.